Welcome into a brand new edition of the Patriots Hub podcast. Alex Barth, Matt Dolloff with you the day after the Patriots get the 27-14 win over the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. We thought about the late night podcast, but I think it would have been, I got home last night a little after 2:30 and then setting everything up and all that. We just thought it would be a little more cogent for you guys in the morning. So sorry for the wait, but here we are after the Patriots get the win. And look, Dolph, I'm just going to start big picture with it. Thursday night games are weird. Weird things can happen. Divisional games are weird. Weird things can happen. So, double weird multiplier in this one. The Patriots certainly had some areas where they had room for improvement. They'll have the mini bye to work on that. But in the end, they win. They cover. Well, depending on when you got the line, but they cover for a lot of people. It was 12 and a half on DraftKings when I interviewed Brian Hoyer on Wednesday. They've now won 8 in a row, and they're not just leading the division. They're kind of in the driver's seat. And we'll see what happens between Buffalo and Tampa on Sunday. But again, there's some things they need to work on. There's some things they need to clean up. But overall, the Thursday night game every year is just kind of taking care of business, however you can get it done. And they definitely took care of business against the Jets.
Yeah, look, they got a chance to, I'll keep a big picture. They got a chance to be in the driver's seat in the AFC, depending on how it goes this weekend, right? With Denver and Indianapolis.
So Denver plays the Chiefs and the Colts have the bye, but then next week, Denver is the bye and the Colts play the Chiefs.
Okay, Colts on bye.
Depending on how real the Colts are, Patriots will get a lot of help here next couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, keeping a big picture. Look, anything is in play. And it's not like I came to that conclusion because of last night's game, because they beat the Jets, but it's just now looking at it, now that it's real. They are 9-2 in the driver's seat in the division for sure. And it just feels like they have the much better quarterback than Denver and Indianapolis. I just feel like they're going to be in that good of a spot going at the end of the year. So anything's in play. The number one seed, hosting playoff games, going on a run, maybe making the Super Bowl could be in play just because of the schedule and how it's gone for them and how Drake Maye is playing. Like anything's possible when you get your franchise quarterback playing at this level. And then you just look around the league and it's like, how many other quarterbacks are even playing like this right now? Like the sky's the limit for the team this particular year, this particular team. And just on the game last night, yeah, I know the Thursday night games are weird. Maybe that game was weird just by virtue of the Jets losing by only 13 points. Like maybe people thought that the Patriots should have just gone in there and blown doors. And because of that, it was weird. I thought maybe the one weird thing was after the Patriots went up 21-7 and the Jets immediately had that answer touchdown to make it 21-14. That felt a little weird. But at the same time, I don't look at the way they won that game as sustainable for over the course of the season through the playoffs if they want to, get to the Super Bowl, let alone win the thing this year. Anything's possible, but I just don't see them sustaining wins by just giving up answer touchdowns like that, and especially giving up another opening drive touchdown. Like that's the stuff that wasn't weird at all. That's what probably the least about the team this year.
Almost expected.
Right. So yeah, I do think there's things to clean up. There's things that maybe other teams can look at and say, oh, okay, maybe we could have success doing that same thing. So the Patriots have things that they could potentially sew up based on how that game went, especially with the defense against the Jets offense. But big picture, they're pretty much in control of just about everything right now. And, mathematically, they still got work to do, but 9-2, first in the AFC East, best quarterback in the conference right now. The way Drake Maye's playing, like anything's possible for the Patriots.
Let's start with the quarterback because, they had some things to clean up last night. Drake Maye kind of erased that margin for error, or expanded that margin for error, I should say. 25-34, 281 yards with a touchdown. He was only sacked once. He also did not turn the ball over, and not the most impressive rushing game for Drake Maye. 4 carries for 2 yards. When the numbers look like that, it's because you're kneeling down at the end of the game. So you take that. I was talking to Mike Reese on the way out last night. I think it's now 11 carries for minus 13 yards on kneel downs this year for Drake Maye. So that really should be a team rushing stat. That shouldn't go against the quarterback, but
it shouldn't even be. It should count against anything.
Just count it. It's got to count as something.
Don't count it as a kneel down. All right, he has 11 kneel downs on the season.
Well, remember when Brady used to
the carries and the yardage? That's just silly that counts for anything.
Remember when Brady used to shoulder his way forward when he was kneeling the ball down so he wouldn't lose the yards? But look, at the end of the day,
no gain or something.
This is how many games in a row that have ended with the Patriots kneeing on the football. So Drake Maye last night, I thought was excellent. Didn't turn the ball over. Now, this is a Jets defense. You want a stat, Dolph? I have a stat for you. You want a stat?
Give me a stat.
We are 11 weeks into the 2025 National Football League season. The New York Jets have yet to force a turnover on American soil. How's that?
That's great. Yeah, I remember you brought that up last pod. The streak continues.
The streak
Although
continues.
Drake Maye had one that probably could have been an interception.
He had one,
but it makes it funnier that they didn't make it.
I'd also like to see Kyle Williams maybe a little more competitive on that ball, but we'll get to Kyle Williams. I think Al Michaels called them domestic turnovers last night, but didn't turn the ball over. I thought played with great control. The big thing for me, and this is going back a couple weeks now, his pocket presence was really good, and that's keeping two hands on the football. That's moving around to stay within the pocket, not bailing. I think outside of one play early, we were talking about the one where he kind of takes off on the scramble and just starts running sideways with really nowhere to go.
And they froze.
He did a much better job last night. And this is something he talked about back in the summer that he wanted to do. When he starts moving around back there, remaining a passer instead of scrambling to run. And there were times where instead of running out of the pocket, he stepped up, or he stepped back, or he stepped around, and he reset the pocket. And, he had a couple passes to Matt Collins like that, the back-to-back passes to Steph Diggs that you didn't know what to say, that left you speechless.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been cyclical. Like, I feel like he has a couple games where he really focuses on that. And then maybe he gets a little more comfortable and starts to get a little more scramble heavy. And then something happens, he takes a big hit or he turns the ball over. And then he kind of goes back into this. So he's kind of back on the upswing now of remaining a passer. But, we can pick a lot apart from Drake Maye's game last night, like in a good way. The throw to Matt Collins that should have been caught is unbelievable. We probably open the show with that, frankly, and credit to Brandon Stevens, makes a good play to break up that ball. But to me, it's his ability to move around within the pocket, not just run outside the pocket, but his ability to move around within the pocket and then keeping his eyes downfield and finding players to throw to when he does that. The Travion Henderson touchdown, another example of that.
Yeah, I'm still speechless about Drake Maye, Barth. Let's move on.
So we can move on?
No, yeah, look, the pocket presence was my favorite part of the game too. The way he was able to just manipulate the pocket, use his footwork to buy time, but like only sliding around 2 feet here, 3 feet there, keeping his eyes downfield, keeping the ball firmly controlled, and then letting it go. And just, that on those 2 straight plays to Stefon Diggs that I'm pretty sure everybody was pretty much speechless about. The first one, that's like my favorite play of the year from him. Like one of my favorite plays in a long time, the way he was able to evade those 2 rushers and then just perfectly plant his foot and drop one right over the middle, right in the breadbasket of Steph Diggs. Like that was just an unbelievable play by a guy that's playing unbelievable football right now. And so, he had a couple plays where once he became a runner, he started to act a little squirrely, but then I think he sort of corrected that in game where there were a couple plays where he did have pressure up the middle and he just tucked the ball and took a sack. He did take a late sack for 10 yards in the fourth quarter, I think, on a late drive. But I mean, there was not much he could do. That was taking the sack might have been the best move there with the amount of immediate pressure he had on that one play. So it's like, we just got to figure this out now. And and that one to Matt Collins, that would have been a dagger, and that would have been 2 straight weeks, 50 plus yards to Matt Collins down the field to put a dagger in him. Like that would have been, one of the top topics of discussion as well.
Also would have been his first 300-yard passing game.
Yeah, and I thought the touchdown pass to Travion Henderson was a nice play too. He had to buy time on that play as well.
Good touch
and
pass.
good on Henderson to find the open space there. But Drake Maye puts it, pretty much where only Henderson is going to have a chance to get that ball, and he reels it in no problem because there's nobody within 5 yards of him. But look, another great game by Drake Maye, and I thought it was kind of not really a bounce back, but he cleaned things up from last week. He protected the ball, no interceptions. After 3 straight games with interception, like that's obviously great too. He played winning football. It's been an exciting year the way he's been able to combine winning plays, winning football, like protection, ball security, and good decisions and things like that, while making these wow plays. It's just like it's unbelievable how he's been able to combine those 2 things. And I know it's the Jets, but to do that on a short week at home to look so sharp, I thought was impressive, and it's a testament to the coaching staff as well. And so. Yeah, look, I think it was a step forward for Drake Maye from where he was over the previous couple games, which is saying something, talking about how he's playing this year. But like, look, he's the main reason they're in the driver's seat in the division and maybe the conference right now, the way he's playing.
I think some of that too, you talked about it being a little bit of bounce back game for him. Credit to the offensive line as well. He got sacked once. There's another sack that got wiped out by a penalty downfield. I think it was illegal contact, but was only hit. Initial charting only had him getting hit 4 times. He'd been hit 14 times the previous 2 games. So trending in the right direction there. And I think that let him settle in. We kind of talked about this in the Falcons game where he maybe got a little bit skittish. And was that because he never really got a chance to settle in because they were sort of teeing off on him? And then last week they teed off on him too. He just took the hits. But
Yeah.
I thought the offensive line run in, pass game was better. Run game was better on the goal line. We'll get to the run game in a second. I just think when we talk about who Drake Maye was throwing to, another week without Kayshon Boutte, you saw the veteran step up quietly. Great game for Stefon Diggs. Great game for Stefon Diggs. I know he had one drop, but I'm looking in the third quarter, like he caught a pass. I'm like, feels like Diggs has been kind of involved tonight. I looked down, like he's got 8 for 80. Wow. And then he finishes with 9 for 105. So I talked about him being the guy that's in the Edelman role. I think a lot of people thought it'd be Pop Douglas or Efton Chisholm. We call that the engine of the offense, right? And I think last night is a great example of why you call that role the engine of the offense. 9 catches, 7 for first downs. 2 of those were on third downs. He had another catch on a third down that set up a manageable fourth down. He's the go-to guy right now. And there are some ebbs and flows with that. He's had some 4-catch games here and there. Does end his streak of 3 consecutive games with a touchdown, but he's their go-to guy. There were questions, 31 years old, coming off a torn ACL, but you look at the way they're using him and his chemistry with Drake Maye, and this is, I think, more or less what you're hoping for when the Patriots signed Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, last night was sort of what you've been talking about just being the volume guy. And he was definitely the engine of the offense. Is definitely the operative word for Stefon Diggs last night. He just makes big plays in big spots. And I know there weren't a lot of particularly big spots in the game last night for Diggs. But once they got in the red zone, and I mean those 2 aforementioned plays by Drake Maye, those were right there with a chance for them to, go up a couple scores. And so, they get the closer they get to the end zone, it feels like the more he steps up. And I'm honestly kind of surprised he wasn't able to get a touchdown the way he was going last night. A lot of it was over the middle of the field. He was just finding soft zones down the field. And that goes back to what you were saying about the O-line giving Drake enough time to stand back there, plant his feet, and just deliver it over the middle of the field. And Stefon Diggs enough time to get down, the 15 yards or 10, 15 yards into that soft area. Like it was good. It was a good all-around operation by the offense. And I feel like that is a sign, to your point, that's a sign that the whole offense is working together. They're all humming as a unit. When Drake Maye can just drop back, he has the time to throw. He's clean. Stefon Diggs gets to the right spot. Boom, throws on time, plays made. Like that is ideal for the Patriots offense. If they can operate like that, they can score against anybody in the league.
All right, let's get to the run game because the run game was interesting. So let's do a little compliment sandwich here. The good. They were much better on the goal line. They've struggled on the goal line or near the goal line the last few weeks. They emphatically finish 2 runs on the goal line with Travion Henderson. Credit to him. He made some tacklers miss. The first one, I think was where it was like a weird pitch and it took him probably further back from the line of scrimmage than it should have.
Yeah.
Gets a big push from the offensive line and Hunter Henry at about the 2-yard line and finished that one. And then on the second one, Jared Wilson takes his guy out of the play right away. Mike Onwenu does some pancaking. Will Campbell seals that thing off, gets some great blocks. He's able to get into the end zone on the second one. So I thought they did a great job around the goal line. The rest of the field, it was hit and miss. They, outside of Drake Maye, they averaged 3.4 yards per carry. Henderson, 62 carries, or 62 yards on 19 carries, 3.3 yards per carry. It's still not like if you don't get the boom play, he's still getting stopped at times, probably more than you want. I guess the second half of the compliment sandwich being more like a reason for optimism. They leaned on him heavily last night. 18 touches was his previous career high. He had 24 in a short week in this game. We've talked about, like, that's just not the back that he is. He's a spell back. And even if he's going to be the starting running back, right, the lead back, you got to have somebody to take up some of those touches, especially. And look, he showed up big in the 5-minute. They needed that first down at the end of the game. And kind of like on the red zone, when they really needed it, Travion Henderson made a play. And that's good. And, those runs at the end of the game, too, keeps the leg churning, goes through contact. Awesome. Love to see it. The in-between runs, they weren't as effective, and you'd like to see maybe if somebody else is in there mixing in, it helps them. It's worth noting that in the fourth quarter, there was one full drive of D'Ernest Johnson before Travion Henderson comes in and finishes that off, so it gives him a chance to get fresh legs. So, Terrell Jennings, Ramondre Stevenson, one of those guys, I still think it's going to help Travion Henderson a lot once they get that guy back, but a lot of credit to Travion Henderson. Biggest workload of his NFL career. It comes on a short week, and he had some really powerful runs, the 2 touchdowns, the runs to ice the game at the end, to ice the clock at the end. When they needed it, he stepped up. I just think it's going to look a little better big picture once he's back and he's truly splitting carries with somebody else.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could find a middle ground between 69-yard touchdown runs and only getting productive runs when you're in the red zone or by the goal line. It'd be nice to find a little middle ground there. That's the only way I think they're going to get their running game going, in an efficient, consistent kind of pace.
Well, that kind of run, the thing is, like, the run you're describing is more Ramondre Stevenson or Terrell Jennings run. And should be noted that
Terrell Jennings, going to get to.
Right, Terrell Jennings dressed last night but didn't play. So
that's what I was going to say, is that, like, they don't have, they just don't have the horses right now. So maybe when they get the horses back, they'll be better off. I think D'Ernest Johnson just doesn't look like he has NFL burst right now, so I don't know if he should even get.
He had one run anymore. And then it got called back on a hold by Jack Westover.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, does he get the run without the hold? I don't know. I didn't review the film there. Okay. All right, fine, Barth.
One run.
But yeah, like, no Terrell Jennings, no Stevenson. It's gonna be tough. You're not gonna get that bell cow kind of performance out of Travion Henderson as much as people might want that out of him. He's a home run hitter. He's a big play guy. He can make plays in the passing game, but he's more of like he's not like a number 2 back. He's just not a guy that's going to get 30 touches like you're talking about. And so they're probably going to have to ease the workload in Cincinnati next week. I know they have extra time off now after they had the short week, but you hope they can get Stevenson back, and you hope they can get at least Terrell Jennings back. Get one of these guys back so you don't have to lean on Henderson so much when you're getting down to the stretch of the season and he's just starting to get going here. And so, like, they gotta manage that workload. But yeah, on the blocking, I loved Owenu on both touchdowns with that pull block on the second one, pancakes the guy. The first one, he was kind of the caboose when they got the train together to push him over the goal line. Owenu kind of came up the rear there and helped push the pile down. So that was good. I loved that. And it's worth mentioning that they brought in Ben Brown as the eligible extra tackle on those a lot of those goal line plays. I'm going to call it right now, Ben Brown touchdown at some point later in the season.
Before or after Tonga?
Right. No, they're going to have the Josh McDaniels wrinkle, either handing it off to Tonga or throwing it to the tackle eligible. That's coming at some point. But yeah, they had more success, I thought, when they brought in Ben Brown as that extra tackle. I'm sure I didn't look at the exact carries or the totals when he came in, but I'm sure that the rushing totals and averages were better when they had that heavy formation. And, like, look, that's expected, but that's something that maybe they can continue to work on. And so, like, I thought that was good to see them. It was good to see them have success in the red zone with the run game. But, like, between the 20s, it's going to have to be Drake Maye dropping back and getting chunk plays with his arm, right? So that's just how it feels like it's going for the offense right now.
You got a pen handy real quick?
I do. 1 second.
All right. So
I have paper, though.
You don't have paper? Can you write on your arm?
Here, I got an envelope here. I can write on this.
All right. So this is a good. Let's calculate this.
I got a notepad buried.
3 yards, 7 yards, 7 yards. I got called for a penalty. 5 yards.
Sounded good.
5 yards. That was it's like resetting on me.
This is great.
0 yards. This is great radio. 0 yards. There's only 1 0 yards there. Repeat that. There's only one. 4 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards. We're not going to count the kneel downs.
Don't count kneel downs.
All right. So give me those numbers again.
377-550-435.
377-550-435.
39.
We just gave out somebody's phone number by accident. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
377-550-435.
Well, all right. So overall in the game, and I'm not going to bother. We're not going to bore everybody calculating what they did without him on the field. But with total game, they averaged 2.4 yards per carry. Bump that up to like 2.5 when you take the kneel downs out. With Ben Brown on the field, 4.3 yards per carry.
There you go. I think like that's a big enough difference. They got to try more of those heavy formations.
And I mean, it was both touchdowns, I believe, too. So
yeah, and like, look,
it was.
That's a team. I feel like I like kind of serious when I'm saying get the other team to respect that and use their heavy personnel and load up at the line. You have the quarterback to fake it, drop it, and roll out and hit the tackle eligible. Like they got to do that at some point.
Anything else on the offense?
I mean, Kyle Williams, we mentioned him earlier, not on the same page with Drake Maye. I think all three of his targets, like I looked at him, one of them, he just kind of stopped running. He just gave up. The other one, like, I just feels like he's not getting to the right spot. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the rookie receiver that looks all out of sorts being the one that's not doing the play right. And Drake Maye, who is playing at an MVP level, is making the right play there. That's what I'm going to lean toward on all those plays. Yes, that one play could have been intercepted, but I feel like Kyle Williams was just the way he looked. I'm just going to assume that he was not running to the right spot there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The big one to me, the two big ones to me, the deep ball that was nearly intercepted, May probably needs to put a little more on that, but also when it does end up in that spot, you want the wide receiver to make more of a play on the football, try to prevent an interception. And then the one down the right sideline that I think you're referring to, he runs what maybe was a comeback, or he just pulled up and May shoots it well down the field. So still not on the same page there. May's still throwing to him, so they're trying to get it working. It was Tom Brady. Nobody would have seen Kyle Williams in weeks at this point. But they still have a ways to go, I think, in that connection.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's going to have to see some snaps with Booty out, right? And you're hoping that you saw that 72-yard touchdown connection, but that took like kind of an incredible throw to drop right in the bucket and give him a complete open field to run with. It's a little different when you're getting pressed and you got a guy right on you. You're in double coverage deep down the field. That's a great point on you probably just ran a comebacker there, but it just like the way he just like stared at it. It was just it was bothersome. But yeah, like they're gonna keep playing him, but he's just not on the same page. That's nothing else to that.
So let's move on to the defense.
Yep.
Let's just do the first drive. And the weird thing to me is it's not like there's not one thing that you look at and this is why they're getting beat to open the game. It's not that, they're getting burned on this route concept, or, like they're not doing this, or they're doing this right. Like it's something different every week, which is what makes it weird, and probably is at least part of the reason it's difficult to fix. Because I don't know that there's one thing that you go in and like maybe energy, like just across the board, but you should be able to get up for those moments. Like that just is what it is. So in this one, and look, I'll give some credit to the Jets. The Jets offensive line, you want to talk about energy. You want to talk about showing up to the building to play. The Jets offensive line came ready. And that first drive, multiple times early, they're not just blowing the Patriots defensive line off the ball. They're getting guys on the ground. And you saw that, and teams do this block all the time, and it's savvy offensive line play. When you get the guy on the ground, now you can't tackle him. That's a hold. But if you push a guy over, you get him on the ground, then you kind of fall on him and you stay on him. He can't get back up. Now he's out of the play. And it created all these cutback lanes where there was a ton of room for Breece Hall and Justin Fields to maneuver, because, there weren't even defensive linemen who were initially getting beat coming back into the play. They were just out of it. So They're able to run right down the field on that. After that, they had a 50-yard drive at the end of the game. That was down 2 scores. The Patriots are in prevent defense. Outside of those 2 drives, so their middle, whatever it is, 7, 8 drives, I forget the exact number off the top of my head, they averaged 3 yards a play. So it was that same thing again. There was one more touchdown drive in the middle. In the third quarter, they go for 65 yards. The response drive you talked about. But even with that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drives, the 7 drives in the middle, not the first, not the last. The Jets averaged 3 yards per play, and that's with a 9-play, 65-yard drive in there. Of their 9 total drives, 6 went for less than 10 yards. So over the majority of the game, the Patriots defense handled the Jets offense like you'd want them to. But because the Jets were able to set the tone early, it always kind of felt like they were scrambling a little bit. So it's still an issue. That's the reality of it. It's still an issue. It's still something they've got to get fixed. I've been saying, well, it's going to burn them when they play good teams, but they did it against Tampa and they still won. So, I don't know. But they got to clean. Like, it's just not sustainable. I know it looks like it is, but it's not. They've got to clean it up eventually.
Yeah, this is my one concern coming out of the game, Barth. And it's like, I feel like this opening drive was a little different than the other ones because it felt like the Jets really looked at them on film and said, we can come up with a plan here. And it feels like they had a real plan. That's what concerns me about it. It's like, yes, they blew them off the ball and just blew it and ran it right down their throat on a couple plays. But the way they attacked the edges on that opening drive is what concerns me. It feels like they looked at the film and said, well, screw it. We don't have to run up the middle on every play. And these guys are undisciplined. They're going to try to cheat to the inside like K'Lavon Chaisson does all the time. Harold Landry doesn't really look like the same guy right now. I feel like maybe he
needs
through
this
something.
Extra bye week. I mean, he hasn't been the same. Remember, he got hurt in Tampa, or not in Tampa, in Tennessee.
Yeah, I was going to say
and
earlier.
It looked serious, and he hasn't looked the same since.
He didn't look like the same guy. And so, like, they attacked those 2 guys, and I feel like that's how they were able to gain the edge on so many plays, whether it was one of the running backs or Justin Fields himself. Justin Fields should have thrown the ball like 3 times in this game. They should have just done that all night. That's part of what kind of shocked me about the Jets is like they had so much success on that first drive. I don't know if the Patriots really changed much. It's that the Jets, like, their second drive, they throw it on 2nd and 9 with Justin Fields. Like, what are you guys thinking? You just keep running the ball the way it was working. And so it feels like kind of a blueprint kind of thing against just the run defense, not the blueprint to beat the Patriots, but that run defense. Like that's sort of what I thought it might look like going into the year. This is what we were talking about, and it's like they've had a shockingly great season stopping the run. The tackling has been really sharp since the early going, and Milt Williams and it has been tough to run on up the middle, tougher to run on than I was expecting. But I thought like teams were going to, if you had a good power running team and a good offensive line, good back, like you were going to be able to blow them off the ball on certain plays, and that their edge rushers were going to be overly aggressive and not really set the edge as much as you want, especially if this is when I thought Keon White was going to be a key piece. So, Harold Landry can set the edge, but Landry just hasn't looked like the same guy. And so I feel like they were just exploiting them on the edge last night over and over again. That was when they kept having successes when they did that. I'm surprised they didn't just try to do it all night, make the Patriots force the Patriots to stop it. I don't think the Patriots ever truly proved they could stop that kind of a game plan. And so it makes the Baltimore game interesting, assuming it's Lamar Jackson. Like, it's going to be real interesting to see how they defend that Ravens running game. I assume the Ravens are going to be smart enough to just run the ball until the Patriots prove they could stop it. Exploit them on the edges, get Lamar Jackson rolling on the edge like that. So, like, that's going to be interesting to see. That's where I feel like the Jets, that's the one area where they had success, and I feel like they actually gave the Patriots something that they really need to look at and clean up going forward.
There were, oddly enough, and I looked this up last night, the Jets ran for more yards per carry after the first drive than they did on the first drive. Now, it was like 4.8 versus 5, so it was close, but the Patriots didn't really, when I say they didn't really do a better job stopping the run, I mean, I think it was the averages. They had some bigger runs and they had some stops, so you had more opportunities because like on first down on that first drive, they're getting into third manageables. Patriots came in as the 5th best third down defense in the NFL. Just go 4 for 4 on third down on the opening drive. They went 4 for 10 the rest of the game from there. So they did a better job on early downs. But yeah, the Jets offense, I'm doing Felger and Maz 2-6 today. If people want to tune in. Actually, I think we're 2 to 6:30 because of a Celtics game or Bruins game or whatever. So I can't wait to hear Felger's take on the Jets. What does he call it? The Harry Houdini high school offense or whatever.
Yeah, the Harry Schmedlap.
Well, Harry Schmedlap's just the average guy, but no, he has something about these like option heavy offenses. The Harry something, the Harry High School. Maybe it's just Harry High School.
Oh, maybe
the
Harry High School.
Offense. Yeah. So
Mickey
like
Mouse.
Yeah, I don't know. The Jets threw the ball more than they should have in that game. And Aaron Glenn clearly believes very much in Justin Fields, and good for him for believing in his guy, I guess. But I mean, even look, AD Mitchell had some tough drops, but like the first one, the deep ball where he beats Gonzalez recovers, gets a little bit of contact on him, but that should still be caught. That one fine, I'll put more on Mitchell. The second one, it hits him in both hands. You are supposed to catch those in the NFL, but there's not a defender within 5 yards of AD Mitchell. He's past the sticks, and he still has to go like up over his head, twisting back, wrong shoulder. Like, I mean, every time the Jets threw the ball, regardless of seeing the outcome of the pass, outside of the one where Craig Woodson fell down for the touchdown, even before seeing the outcome, it felt like it was an advantage for the Patriots in that game. I was surprised the Jets threw the ball as much as they did.
Yeah, like Justin Fields, he's never going to be a great passer in the NFL at this point. And what didn't shock me, but like what stood out about him to me was that like he throws a lot of balls too low. Like he throws balls low and off to the side. Like you see a lot of quarterbacks sail it too high. Like you see that with Drake Maye before. But Justin Fields, he throws it at guys' feet a lot. He throws it just like tailing off down toward the turf. So obviously he's doing something wrong mechanically that guys coaches have never been able to figure out. Not that he's been all over the league, but I don't know. Maybe he gets to the right spot somewhere. Maybe he's Lamar Jackson's backup in a couple years in Baltimore. Maybe they can get something out of him. But yeah, like I think you really got to limit the way he throws the ball, the amount he throws the ball, throwing it in on 2nd and 9 on that second drive again. Like I thought that was just a terrible decision that sort of set the game in motion for the Patriots. On the ensuing drive, Josh McDaniels calls a perfect play action, tight end over the top pass play, 23 yards, and then they're rolling. They get a touchdown. And so that's like, I thought offensive play calling was kind of huge early in that game, the way that the Patriots sort of, they called the right play and then the Jets called the wrong play, to put it as simply as possible. Like, I think that was a stark contrast. And I think that was just bad decision-making by the Jets coaching staff to try to use Justin Fields as a passer that soon when your running game had worked so well on the opening drive. I think I want to dump on Justin Fields for not being able to throw the ball at a high level in the NFL, but at the same time, I don't think the coaches were doing him any favors last night either.
The low throws, maybe because of the low snaps, rough game for Josh Myers last night, the Jets center.
Yeah, and that's true. There are some bad snaps, yeah.
Yeah, there's the one really bad one that obviously results in the turnover. But there were, Fields was having to go. He looked like a catcher trying to go get a knuckleball sometimes.
He was, exactly. He was trying to catch a knuckleball. That's what it looked like.
So after the first drive, though, the Patriots defense does settle down. Got to give a lot of credit to the guys on the defensive line. Milton Williams goes out. Mike Vrabel, and we have the quotes up on 98.5thesportshub.com. Mike Vrabel made it sound, is precautionary a fair word, or like said maybe could have gone back in the game, but they wanted to get a start on treating him. So Christian Barmore steps up, gets not just his first sack of the season. I think he had it. Didn't he get a second sack? He's in the box score with one.
Elijah Ponder got the other sack.
That's what it was. Yeah. Or there was one where Barmore got close, but you get a sack from Elijah Ponder.
He had a couple pressures, yeah.
Durden and Tonga play more snaps. Eric Gregory makes his NFL debut, gets a stuff on the first run against, showed up ready to go. So the Patriots showing they can run deep on that defensive line. Look, they need Milton Williams. He's been one of their most disruptive players, and him being out there makes other people better. Part of the reason that he's been so good is Christian Barmore has been double teamed so much, and those two together make each other better, even if the production's not there for one of them because they're getting doubled. So you need them back. But I think credit to the guys up front who stepped up with Milton Williams out. And, again, the defensive line gets blown off the ball a ton to start the game. Milton Williams goes down. You're looking at that like, uh-oh, what's going on here? And then, Barmore, we know, is a tremendous player, but some of those other guys too, just digging in and able to kind of steady the ship.
Yeah, look, yeah, Milton Williams, it feels like he was precautionary coming out of the game. Like, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, maybe. I mean, he has extra time to get ready for Cincinnati. It didn't feel like too worrisome for the Patriots, the fact that he was able to come back in that game. But yeah, Christian Barmore getting his first sack of the season was a little surprising to me. That I thought he had a sack at some point this year. But yeah, to your point, those two working together is what has made that interior of the defensive line so effective this year. Is Christian Barmore and Milton Williams both being on the field. You have to double team one and sort of pick your poison. You can't double team both of them. So it's like it's going to be a little tougher for them to get after the quarterback. I think in the big picture without if they don't have both of them together, I think Williams is going to be back. Hopefully he doesn't have to play through something that sort of limits him. But if they only have one, like I thought last night was kind of a good sign to see Elijah Ponder come off the edge for a sack. Like maybe he's starting to come on at the right time. Like I think they've really lacked a sort of consistent edge rushing presence. I know K'Lavon Chaisson and Harold Landry have popped at times, but they haven't been the most consistent. And not that Ponder's been consistent, but if he can emerge as a guy that they can bring in on third downs and he can, give you a sack and give you a pressure here and there, that would be a good development for them up front. Durden, we'll see. Eric Gregory was the other guy I was thinking of. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they hold up consistently. I still hope that Tonga delivers the kind of impact that those guys did last night. That that's been the most consistent option there. But yeah, they're deep on the D line, and I think they're really well coached. And so it was surprising to see them get blown off the ball after the way they played so far this year. But again, I think maybe that's something where the Jets, maybe picked up something on film and had some kind of an advantage there. Maybe that's something for them to clean up and work on. It's going to be challenging if they don't have Milton Williams, but it feels like they have a good deep group of personnel to work with in terms of reserves that can actually give you something.
Elsewhere on the defense, I thought linebackers played well. Good game for Robert Spillane. Jack Gibbons was everywhere in this one. Had a big broke up a screen pass late in the game that helped get the Jets off the field. And then Del Pettis with the late play. Mike Vrabel shouted him out in the post game speech. Your guy, he's playing well. So good, so against a team that runs as much as the Jets, we're not going to talk that much about the second level, about the secondary. Obviously, Craig Woodson needs to not fall down in coverage. Christian Gonzalez had a little bit of trouble with A.D. Mitchell, but ultimately didn't burn him. Just, something to keep in mind, something to clean up for the next game. Yeah, not a ton of thoughts. Certainly not a ton of thoughts on third level. Second level, I thought Gibbons was all over the field, but this is the kind of game you focus on the defensive line.
That should be the slogan for the Sports Hub. Not a ton of thoughts. Just not much going on up there. Yeah, look, Jack Gibbons, two good games in a row. I think he led the team in tackles last week. Last night, he has a tackle for loss. At one point, it was their first and only tackle for loss of the game. And so he's really stepped up with Christian Ellis out. He's maybe giving them an interesting decision in terms of how they deploy their linebackers if and when Christian Ellis is ready to come back. I think they've honestly looked kind of better with Gibbons than they have with Ellis, even though Ellis has had a decent year overall. So I don't know. I like Gibbons out there the way he's playing. Woodson, don't fall is kind of an obvious one, but yeah, like that's not something you just can't have that. You can't have a guy running wide open on that second touchdown play. And so like he's been a little shaky lately, but I think Woodson he's shown enough that he can develop into a solid, dependable, long-term starter at safety. I don't know how good he's going to be. I don't know what his ceiling is. He's just got to clean up those obvious coverage mistakes, and I think he'll be fine. But yeah, those were that and the run defense were the real blemishes last night, I thought, on defense.
Anything else on the defense?
Nothing on the defense. Quick special team stuff. Feels like Ethan Chisholm had a good game as a kick returner. Might have been his best game. I don't know that he's been particularly strong in that department so far this year, but I thought that was definitely his best game as a kick returner. What did you think?
All right, now we're even because I stole your take earlier. You stole mine. I think he is getting more comfortable back there. The two things. Now, look, the yards per return wasn't as high. I think he had a game where he was at like 26. He was at 23 in this game. The Jets were kicking it pretty short to him. So a little less room, but I think they've talked about using the 30 as kind of the line of demarcation. He gets past the 30 on 2 of 3 returns. I think he's just almost thinking less. That's a violent play. And I remember Gunnar Olszewski one time told me on punt returns, so he just kind of turned his brain off and went dark and then just went with it. And it seems like Chisholm's doing a little more of that, not shying as much away from the contact, more decisive hitting the first hole. So, is he going to be a great returner? I don't know. I think you need the straight line speed for it. But what we're learning more about this play is it's not the ability to break the big one, even without touchdowns. Like, you have teams that are averaging close to 30 yards a return, and you have teams that are much closer to 20. And that's 10 yards of field position over 3, 4, 5 kickoff returns a game. You're talking about 50 yards per game. Like, that's a significant difference. It adds up. So he's taking what's there. Like, at the beginning, I didn't even think he was taking what was there. I thought he was too tentative. And he's doing a better job of taking what's there. He's doing a better job of embracing the contact. He's getting them out to the 30-yard line. So he looks better. I still would like to see them maybe in the offseason, because I don't think Henderson's going back to that with his role being what it is on offense. Maybe in the offseason you go find somebody else. But I think, for the rest of the year, if he can give you this. The other interesting thing, they had Brennan Schooler as the up man because they were thin at running back. I like that. Brennan Schooler loves his contact. I love him being the guy that's kind of leading the way. And they had him stacked like in an I formation instead of splitting them out. So using Brennan Schooler almost like a fullback in those situations, I kind of like. So we'll see. But I do think Afton Chisholm's getting more comfortable back there.
For sure. Yeah. And it's a good point about the short kicks. Like, a 22-yard return, they're not all created equal. Like, if you kick it all the way to, to the end of the landing zone and he runs it back 22 yards, it's different than, you kick it short and he runs it 22 yards. So yeah, that's why, like, I thought he passed the eye test as a kick returner. So I think you sort of illustrated it there with that point.
One more thing from this game. What do you think of the Rivalry uniforms?
Oh, I liked them. I thought, like, the team that I compared them to is the Tennessee Oilers or the Houston Oilers with the bright blue. Like, a lot of people said the Colts, but I thought the Colts are a much darker shade of blue. But yeah, they look nice. For me, maybe it just depends on how they play. With Drake Maye making throws like that, like, maybe I just like the uniform more. Maybe if he was throwing interceptions, I wouldn't have liked it as much. That's sort of how I look at it.
I do think it was interesting just seeing people's reaction. I think there was a clear difference between the people who were at the game and the people who were at home watching on TV. And I think they definitely came across better in person. And even me, like, looking up at there's a TV up there in the press box that you look at for replays and stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to get used to a different shade of the color that you're used to with your team. But the design itself, I think, is good overall.
Yeah, I just thought they popped more maybe in person than they did on TV. Painted end zones, though, was great. I wouldn't hate if that becomes a thing. And the intros, the intro at night, like they did the player intros the last couple weeks. Was kind of cool.
God. It was like the Super Bowl out there.
That thing at night was awesome. That was, we need more night games at Gillette. They had a light show and everything, so that was cool. All right. I thought
one more thought before we get out of here on the game. Just to go back to special teams. I didn't know if you were about to get out of here.
Oh, sorry.
Just worth mentioning that the kicker Andy Borgalis got iced last night. That was welcome to the NFL, kid. That's the first time he got iced this year, right?
Yeah, and he just missed it to the right.
He just missed it. It's not like he completely shanked it or anything. And it was good to see him bounce back, hit a 44-yarder, and then a chip shot late in the game. So he bounced back. But yeah, they iced him pretty good there.
So I thought we were at like 25, 30 minutes because the timer froze on here. We were at 43. So we're going to wrap it up there. Glad we didn't do this last night. We'll have more on 98.5.
Still a little delirious.
We'll have more on 98.5thesportshub.com throughout the day, throughout the next couple days. Like I said, I'm on Felgrove Maz. David Andrews' podcast will still be on Monday. I know we had kind of said Friday, just some scheduling things that will be on Monday. So you can check out Patriots Hub podcast feed for that. Also the Sports Hub YouTube channel. Until the next one, for Matt Dolloff, I'm Alex Barth. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.